Good evening to all of you. Am I audible, Ravi? Okay. So in last class, we discussed various dimensions of First World War. Okay, impact we have already discussed, and we have also discussed some of the important provisions of the TOV, Treaty of Versailles, that was signed with Germany. Okay, there are so many provisions, but we discussed the most important one. Okay, and it was clear from the last discussions that territories of Germany were taken away. So what will happen? Germany's territories will shrink. Okay, national boundaries will change. Germany will not only lost its territories, but it will also lost its population. Why population? Because when the areas or territories will be surrendered to the other countries, obviously the people who are living in these territories, right, they will also come under the subjugation or dominance of some other nations. Okay, and this all happened in Germany. The economic restrictions, or you can say that according to that war guilt clause, the amount for war compensation was very high. It was beyond the Germans' ability to pay. This we have discussed. This was about 6,600 million pounds. Clear? Germany had to return territories to Russia, which it has previously conquered. Germany had to return Alsace-Lorraine to France, which it had previously conquered. It means what it has conquered, it was taken back. Plus, the original territories of Germany were also taken away. For example, okay, coal-rich valley that I discussed with you, Denging Mammal that I discussed with you. So some original German territories were also taken from this Germany. And this will do what? This will promote a kind of sense of dissatisfaction among the German people. Got it? The same kind of dissatisfaction will also be promoted in the minds of Italians. Why? Because Italy was previously in which camp? So the camp of the victorious nation, the camp of Germany, but later it changed side. The purpose was some greed, territorial greeds, but the expectation was not fulfilled, and that's why Italy was dissatisfied. Okay, there was some dissatisfaction by this capitalist model also, because we see the reaction of capitalism in the form of socialism, and the socialist revolution took place in Russia. So different ideologies were there in Europe at this time. Now, some general issues. For example, the topic of nationalism, I have told you that I will discuss it once I will finish the entire world history. But wherever we find some references, we will discuss those. That is very important to understand, because this is the entire purpose of this lecture. Nationalism, alteration of the national boundaries. This is mentioned in the UPSC syllabus also. Do you agree with the fact that uh, when Napoleon ascended as the empire of France, some change of national boundaries took place? Yes or no? Yes. नेपोलियन के आने के बाद भी कुछ चेंजेस हुए थे. वियना कांग्रेस also introduced some changes. Yes or no? Yes. Formation of Italy, Germany, 1870-71. Again, some changes. The imperialistic or colonial outlook of the powerful countries of Europe will again do what? It will again bring some changes. And after First World War, in Paris Peace Treaty, again there are changes in the national boundaries. ठीक है ना? Bulgaria was there, okay, Turkey was there, Germany was there, Austria Hungary was there, okay. So defeated nations, their territorial boundaries will change. Now I will display some images, some maps here on the slide, and it is not important to read all those facts. What I am going to display, it's not important to know all these facts, but it is important to understand the essence of those facts. So we will come to the essence part, that is nationalism debate, but I am displaying some slides. Okay, but don't get trapped in those slides. Those informations, okay, we don't need to remember. Okay, we need those informations only. Okay, to understand the debate. Okay, for example, a change in national boundaries in Europe. This is the point here. Now, I'm displaying some images. I think it's not very much clearly visible, but still, okay, thoda sa to samajh mein aa hi raha hoga, right? Now look at this map. What you see? Empire of France. This was the French Empire. This is the map of France in which year? 1820. This is what? This is the Empire of France. ये फ्रांस का क्या है? Empire. Under the control of France. And these states were allied with Napoleon. These states were allied with Napoleon. They were allied with France. They were alliances. Okay. These states were under Napoleon's control. It means this is Confederation of Rhine. I have already discussed the concept with you. That Napoleon has done what? They were under Napoleon's control. This part, Prussia, Austria, they were the allies of Napoleon. Later, these states fight against Napoleon. Later, these nations will also fight. We already have discussed it. ठीक है? When Napoleon was powerful, जब आप powerful होते हो, what will the people will accept your authority? They will give you challenge also when your position will be weaker. So this is the situation in 1812. This is not 1814, 1812. So do you see the Napoleon's influence in other parts of Europe? It is clearly seen, right? These are the Rhine Confederation. Okay, this is the part which later becomes Italy. This part later becomes Germany. So Germany, there were various smaller states or principalities, and they like to be associated with France. This is also a kind of nationalism. That there are other territories, smaller territories, principalities ruled by different rulers, but they like to get associated with France. Okay, they accepted Napoleon's influence. Why they accepted? Because here the concept of a greater nation, and this greater nation is doing what? Is helpful in the recognition of their progressive rights. It is giving help and support to promote the progressive ideals in these territories. And that's why these territories or areas are those states which are under Napoleon control and influence. Because Napoleon was doing what? He was promoting progressive ideas of the revolution. I will discuss this, okay, again. Now, look at the image here. This is the changes that were introduced in France or in Europe after Vienna conference. Now look at the territory of France. It was again reduced. फिर से कम हो गया. कम हो गया ना? Now look at these territories. Kingdom of Two Sicilies, Kingdom of Sardinia, Parma, Modena, Savoy. ये सब हमने देखा था. Tuscany, Modena. They were kept under different foreign powers. Look at these smaller states. German Confederation, smaller states. Okay, Bohemia, Bavaria. This is Austria. There are smaller states, German states. Okay, very small states here, which we see. Okay, this is the boundary of German Confederation. This is the boundary. It means this confederation is a confederation of what? Smaller states and principalities that came together. बहुत सारे smaller states और principalities क्या हुए? They came together. Why they came together? They came together to have a larger political identity. इसलिए तो वो साथ आए थे. This is also a kind of sense of patriotism, which is taking shape in the form of nationalism. ठीक है? People sharing common cultural beliefs are coming together in the hope that they will be able to make their identity a larger global identity or diplomatic identity. Italy में भी कुछ ऐसा ही हो रहा था. The people sharing the common cultural heritage, okay, they were coming together. This all was happening. But again, what we see is that, okay, this we already have discussed. Vienna Congress, so we already have discussed this part. Okay, now what we see is that after First World War, Paris Peace Summit took place. Okay, one treaty was signed, that is Treaty of Versailles. It was signed with Germany, and we already have discussed that after this treaty, German territories will be taken back. If I will just explain a data with you, it was like that German lost its 12.5% of area. More than 10%, it is 12.5% of German territories. Germany lost about 6.5 million पॉपुलेशन। खुद का ओरिजिनल टेरिटरी 12.5% इसने खो दिया। ओरिजिनल जर्मन टेरिटरीज कितना लॉस्ट किया? ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट जर्मनी लॉस्ट इट्स ओरिजिनल जर्मन टेरिटरीज, original German territories, and this was 12.5%. Okay, original German territories. And what it had annexed or conquered, either it will have to return back, or the areas were put under League of Nations, okay, control, that I've already discussed with you. The population, if I'll talk about some rough idea, it was 6.5 million population Germany lost. The areas were taken away and Germany lost its population. Clear? Got it? And what about the colonies? What about the colonies? Colonies were kept under mandate system, under the control of League of Nation. Under the control of League of Nation. What does this map indicate? That these territories, dekho, all these are the German territories. Here different colored flags are there, okay, and all these territories were taken by, okay, powerful countries of Europe, who were the victorious powers. And if you will count all these territories, this will be roughly amount to 12.5%. Okay, that is the rough estimate. Important territorial changes I have already discussed with you. Now what about Austria-Hungary? I have discussed 5 treaties with you. Germany, Austria, okay, बताया था ना? So Austria-Hungary. What about Austria-Hungary? So here what you see, look here. That Austria-Hungary, okay, many of its territories were taken away. It was also divided. ठीक है, territories का सारा नाम नहीं याद रखना है, but here you can look at this map. It is very clear that here, okay, this is Austria, okay, and this is what? Empire of Hungary. Austria and Hungary, and Austria-Hungarian Empire, I am writing here, what I have written here, empire collapsed during the First World War. When an empire will collapse, what will happen? Many new countries will come into existence. This is what? Birth of new nationalities in Europe. When an empire will disintegrate, many new countries will come into existence. The same happened. I have already discussed with you the Treaty of German. And what we see, that the borders are heavily influenced by ethnic religious composition and religious borders. तो ऑस्ट्रिया हंगरी एम्पायर के इतने ज़्यादा डिसइंटीग्रेट होने के पीछे रीज़न जो था वो था कि एथनिक डाइवर्सिटी, ठीक है ना, ethnic considerations, religious minorities, giving rights or recognizing the rights of these religious minorities. Okay, now look here again, some map is given. Okay, this is what? Austria. This is what? This part is Hungary. Then what we see, that इसमें से कैसे नए नए areas आ रहे हैं. For example, this part was given to Poland. This part was given to Poland. Now this was the Republic of Bohemia. देखो, this is the Republic of Slovak. Okay, in this way what we see, this is what? Okay, this is called Ruthenian Confederation. Okay, this is called Slovene Kingdom. This is called Kingdom of Croatia. इस तरह से many different nationalities came into existence. ठीक है ना? ऑस्ट्रिया, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि कौन सा पार्ट किसको दे दिया गया, ठीक है ना, इटली को क्या दिया गया, पोलैंड को क्या दिया गया, ठीक है. सो ऑल दिस हैज बीन गिवन. तो वो सारे फैक्ट्स हमें जानने नहीं है. Okay, basically we need to understand the debates that I will discuss with you. Look here, this is partition of Hungary. Okay, this is what? Partition of Hungary. देखो, this is like sliced cake, slicing the sliced cake. ठीक है, ऑस्ट्रिया हंगरी को पहले काटा और फिर यहाँ पे किसको काट रहा है? पार्टीशन ऑफ हंगरी. ये ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है? अलग अलग पार्ट में, 4 पार्ट में हमने डिवाइड किया. ओके, दिस इज व्हाट? क्रिएशन ऑफ न्यू बाउंड्रीज और नेशनलिटीज. ठीक है, अब इसमें देखो, Hungary was partitioned all 4 sides. Northern part, okay, that is Slovakian part of Czechoslovakia. Eastern part में आ जाओ तो Romania. Southern part has already been mentioned. Western part, okay. So in this way, what we see is that these territories were divided and distributed among different nationalities. So different nationalities come into existence. Okay. Then what we see here, the partition of Bulgaria. In the same way, सदर्न पार्ट किसको दिया गया? ग्रीस को. वेस्टर्न पार्ट वाज गिवन टू सर्ब्स, क्रोएट्स एंड स्लोवेंस. नाम कुछ ध्यान आया? सर्ब्स, क्रोएट्स एंड स्लोवेंस. क्लियर? डिसइंटीग्रेशन ऑफ ऑटोमन एम्पायर मैंने बताया था. सर्ब्स, सर्बिया, क्रोएट्स, क्रोएशिया, स्लोवेंस, स्लोवेनिया. ठीक है, तो उनको किस तरह से एकोमोडेट किया गया? दीज आर द एग्जाम्पल्स. नाउ व्हाट अबाउट ऑटोमन एम्पायर? ओके, दिस इज ऑटोमन एम्पायर. तो आफ्टर फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर द टेरिटरी वॉज रिलेटिवली द सेम. फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद ऑटोमन एम्पायर की टेरिटरी में कोई खास बदलाव नहीं आया. ऑलरेडी ये पहले से डिसइंटीग्रेट हो रहा था. द ऑटोमन एम्पायर वॉज नॉट पार्टीशनड इमीडिएटली, but later it will be partition. Okay, for example, treaty of Sevres that was signed with Turkey, I have already discussed with you. Okay, so Ottoman Empire was the treaty of Sevres in 1920, but इसके बाद भी एक treaty है, and that treaty is very much important, right? After treaty of Sevres, okay, treaty of Lausanne, that treaty is important. This is Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. टर्की के केस में जो आप पढ़ते हो, फॉर एग्जाम्पल खिलाफत मूवमेंट इन इंडिया, इंडियन मुस्लिम्स वाला कॉन्टेक्स्ट याद है आपको? इंडियन मुस्लिम्स डिमांडेड दैट कैलिफ पावर शुड बी restored and all this. Gandhi said that why you are fighting for this cause? This is not progressive because Turkey में ही movement चल रहा है, young Turkish movement. And what happened? Reforms will be introduced under the leadership of this person, that is Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. ठीक है, so this point is here. Now, the Ottoman Empire was one of some countries that disappeared after First World War, being replaced by the Republic of Turkey. मैंने पहले भी बताया था कि जैसे यूएसएसआर में सबसे बड़ा यूनिट कौन है या उसका सक्सेसर कौन है? रशिया. In the same way, Ottoman Empire, the successor is Turkey. I have already discussed this with you. Okay, still have one or more country to discuss. Now, what is the essence of all these topics that I am coming to discuss? लास्ट में नेशनलिज्म को रिलेट करूंगा तो ज़्यादा बेटर समझ पाओगे. एक फ्रैगमेंट है, दैट्स वाई वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज वी हैव कवर्ड आवर जर्नी फ्रॉम दिस पीरियड टिल दिस पीरियड. और इसमें बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट पड़ाव हैं. 1830 इज देयर, 1848 इज देयर, 1870-71 is there, age of new imperialism is there. What we see here, Vienna Congress is there. Here we see what? Paris Peace Settlement, different provisions that changed or altered national boundaries. Okay, there are so many topics. What I want to say here is that let's discuss some of the issues. That the subject of nationalism is extremely complex. देखो, नेशनलिज्म की कोई एक डेफिनेशन नहीं है. द डेफिनेशन विल वैरी अकॉर्डिंग टू द रीजन, अकॉर्डिंग टू द सर्कमस्टेंसेस, according to the time, according to the historical context, according to the contemporary context. So this nationalism debate is very complex. Okay, there is not a single definition. This debate is very complex, not the least because of the many different sources and manifestations of the phenomena. Different sources means in context of Europe, in context of Russia, right? In context of 17th, 18th century, in context of 19th century, in context of the process of decolonization, in context of the countries of Europe, in context of the countries of Asia, in context of the countries of Africa. नेशनलिज्म के मतलब बदलेंगे. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? तो अभी तो पूरी हिस्ट्री आपने पढ़ी नहीं, बट पूरी हिस्ट्री फिनिश करने के बाद इसी डिबेट को हमें, डिबेट ऑफ नेशनलिज्म, हियर आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस अ पार्ट ऑफ इट. एंड व्हाट इज दिस? ओके, नेशनलिज्म इन हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट. आई एम जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग a simple meaning, that in historical context, what is the meaning of nationalism? So it is an ideological movement, and what is the aim of this ideological movement? This we need to understand. So the aim of this ideological movement is what? Attaining and maintaining the identity. Here we are talking about what? Question of identity, question of ethnicity, question of culture, question of languages. ठीक है, identity. How? So by promoting unity through social cohesion. By promoting unity through social cohesion. देखो, there is a difference between the meaning of unity and uniformity. What is the meaning of unity and what is the meaning of uniformity? बताइए. Difference क्या है? Are both these two terms the same? Unity and uniformity. Try to give answer. देखो, when we talk about unity, so we accept that obviously we are sharing, for example, in India, we all are sharing common cultural history. Our cultural history is same, but the language is same or not? No, right? There are so many things that they differ, but our cultural history remains the same. मेरी बात समझ गया? So when we have this tendency of tolerance, right, that we are sharing common cultural history, still there are some differences, and we respect those differences. In that case, when we try to develop the kind of social cohesion, that is called unity. मेरी बात समझ गया? For example, in India, what is the term that we use? Unity in diversity or uniformity in diversity? Unity in diversity. This is the proper word. We cannot use the term uniformity in diversity. Uniformity आते से क्या हो जाएगा? For example, we are sharing the same culture. We are sharing the same language. Okay? In this way, we will talk about the uniformity. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? तो ये थोड़ा सा ये डिफरेंस होता है यूनिटी में और यूनिफॉर्मिटी में. Here difference has also been written. Okay? The key difference between unity and uniformity is their acceptance of differences. This is the main parameter. This is the main parameter. Okay? Acceptance of differences. When we are talking about unity, it means here we are accepting that people tend to tolerate and accept differences. In case of India, we talk about uniformity. People tend to tolerate and accept differences. But when we talk about uniformity, what does it imply? It implies that everyone is alike. So there is no room for difference. ठीक है, मेरी बात समझ के? Everyone is alike, so there is no room for difference. Okay, that is what uniformity. Here there are room for differences. Okay, so this is the general difference between unity and uniformity. Now, are you able to relate some things from the European history? Europe के history से relate कर पा रहे हो? Here another word has been written, that is autonomy. Through national self-determination of a nation or people united under a national banner. In other words, it is the most potent ideology in nation state building and consolidation. अब इसमें से important keywords को filter करो और सोचो उसके बारे में कि when we are talking about nationalism in historical context. Historical context में we can take the example of European history that we have discussed. So one thing is what here? Okay, maintaining the identity. This is one important point. Identity maintain करने के लिए social cohesion is an important factor. Then we talked about autonomy. When we have autonomy, then we have the right to self determination. हमारे देश की इकोनॉमी कैसी होगी, राइट? इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज क्या होंगी, टैरिफ पॉलिसी क्या होंगे, दिस ऑल विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय अस. गॉट इट? दैट इज द आइडिया. देन national self determination or people united under a national banner. This word is also given. People united under a national banner. ठीक है? And this is an important ideology which helps in what? Nation state building. Nation state building, and it helps in the consolidation of territories. It helps in the consolidation of territories. Relate करो, जो आपने पढ़ा उसको relate करो. Now just think about unification of Italy. This issue, unification of Italy. कुछ ध्यान आया? Were the people fighting for their identity, their self-respect to be granted? Okay, their cultural identity, sharing common cultural practices, heritage, and the territories were kept under control of different monarchs. So what was affected? This. Their identity was affected. Clear? So if they want to assert their identity in Europe, so they will have to promote what? The kind of social cohesion. They will have to come together for one cause. And when they will come together for one cause, this will do what? Okay, this will do what? I have written here, this will help in the nation state building or consolidation of territories. This will help na? This will bind the people together. ये लोगों को साथ लेके आएगा. Okay. And the second factor is autonomy. When these, okay, for example, Sardinia, Piedmont plus other states, okay, when they will come together, and when all these territories combined together will get a distinct political identity, diplomatic identity, will they be autonomous in taking their political decisions, recognition of rights for the people in their countries? Okay, which political system they will incorporate, which constitutional development they will incorporate in their system? They will be free to introduce all these things. Clear? So this is one point. Okay, people united here. Okay, what I written here? People united under a national banner. So Italy is what? A national banner. It will unite what? S plus P, Sardinia, Piedmont. P plus M plus S, P plus M plus T, Parma, Modena, Tuscany. Plus it will unite what? Lombardy, Venetia. Plus it will unite what? Papal States. Plus it will unite what? Kingdom of Two Sicilies. And this all will have one banner. And that banner is Italy. This is a new nation. So when we talk about the nation, these are a few parameters that we have discussed here. Which parameters, Anna? Got it? And here what is happening? Okay, the people of Italy are fighting for what? Unity in diversity or unity in uniformity? They are fighting for what? Unity in diversity or unity in uniformity? Exactly. This is the core difference. For example, the foundation of Pakistan, formation of Muslim League in India in 1906. Okay, and after this, when Muslim League will be formed and Muslim League will raise the radical issues, what will happen? धीरे धीरे ये issue क्या हो जाएगा? First they will talk about separate electorate system. Got it? They will talk about the protection of the rights of minority Muslims in India. How these rights could be protected. Jinnah's 14-point formula. Okay, got it? Okay, separate electorates, separate Muslim candidates, and all these rights. Lastly, they will talk about a separate Muslim land. Jinnah will say, when Jinnah will present his two-nation theory, Jinnah will say that Hindu and Muslim, these are not only two religions, but these are two completely different cultures whose interests are contradictory to each other. It's very difficult to, it is almost impossible. These two cultural, okay, groups cannot coexist together. This is the argument of Jinnah. Hindu और मुस्लिम कभी साथ साथ रह ही नहीं सकते. So what is he is promoting? He is promoting a kind of homogeneity, okay, uniformity. एक cultural identity को आप एक special political और diplomatic identity दे दो. And what British were saying? British क्या कह रहे थे? We will never compromise with the rights of ethnic, cultural and linguistic minority. Minority rights के साथ हम कभी भी compromise नहीं करेंगे. We will give full respect to the minority rights. Why British were saying this? When we were, okay, in the process of solving our constitutional deadlock in 1940s, British government was saying this, reiterating this again and again, कि compromise हम करेंगे ही नहीं linguistic या cultural minority rights के साथ. Reason क्या था? They have their own arguments of world history events. वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री आपने पढ़ा, यूरोपियन हिस्ट्री, तो दे विल गिव एग्जांपल कि अगर माइनॉरिटी राइट्स को क्या किया गया, सप्रेस किया गया, ठीक है, तो दिस विल हैव, ओके, you can say that very dangerous consequences like we have seen in the past in the European countries, and US was also emphasizing giving right to self determination. तो right to self determination तो minority rights पे भी लागू हो जाता है. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? नाउ दिस विल बिकम मोर क्लियर विद दिस डेफिनेशन. अभी ये पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट लास्ट में समझ में आएगा आपको ज्यादा बेटर तरीके से, बट थोड़ा थोड़ा इस डिबेट को समझो. यही डिबेट सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट डिबेट है. देखो, कंटेम्प्रेरी एरा में रिलेट कर रहा हूँ, आई एम रिलेटिंग इट इन कंटेम्प्रेरी एरा. व्हाट इज रिटन हियर, लुक एट दिस. Nationalism has also been a vehicle for dissatisfied ethnic or cultural communities to voice their dissatisfaction with the status quo. ठीक है, ये भी एक तरह का नेशनलिज्म ही है. That if in a country, if there is some dissatisfied ethnic or cultural community, जैसे जो चीज हमारे लिए एंटी नेशनल है या इंडिया के लिए सेपरेटिस्ट टेंडेंसी थी ड्यूरिंग द फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल, वो किसी दूसरे कल्चरल ग्रुप के लिए क्या था? नेशनलिज्म था. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? बट दैट वाज नॉट नेशनलिज्म. दैट वाज व्हाट? दैट वाज अ ट्रिक यूज्ड बाय कॉलोनियल रूल इन इंडिया. डिवाइड एंड रूल उसका मैनिफेस्टेशन था. जिसको मुस्लिम लीग गलती से नेशनलिज्म समझ रही थी, वो नेशनलिज्म था ही नहीं. बट फिर भी अगर हम डेफिनेशन की बात करें, ओके, द सोर्स ऑफ डिसकंटेंट मे बी रिलेटेड टू अ वैरायटी ऑफ फैक्टर्स. इस डिसकंटेंट का कई सारा रीजन हो सकता है, सच एज द डेनायल ऑफ कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी. ठीक है, कि किसी कल्चरल ग्रुप में इस बात से डिससेटिस्फेक्शन है क्योंकि उसकी कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी को रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया जा रहा है, डिनाई किया जा रहा है. बट व्हाट अबाउट द केस ऑफ इंडिया? मुस्लिम लीग, नेहरू रिपोर्ट ने क्या कहा था? नेहरू रिपोर्ट कम्स इन 1929 2028 and Jinnah's 14-point formula comes in 1929. And Nehru report clearly says that we will give equal respect to the minorities. Minorities के साथ affirmative discrimination होगा. We will protect minority rights in India. ठीक है, रिलीजियस फ्रीडम का अधिकार मिलेगा सबको, राइट? ये सारी बात किस में कही गई थी? नेहरू रिपोर्ट में कही गई थी. तो इन इंडिया द माइनॉरिटीज वर नॉट सप्रेस्ड. ठीक है, मेरी बात समझ गया ना? तो इंडिया में यही डेफिनेशन का पैरामीटर क्या हो जाएगा? चेंज हो जाएगा. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? मुस्लिम लीग के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अलग हो जाएगा, इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अलग हो जाएगा, यूरोपियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अलग हो जाएगा. तो नेशनलिज्म हैज डिफरेंट मीनिंग हियर. नाउ दिस वी आर रीडिंग, ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल जस्ट रिलेट द केस ऑफ इटली एंड जर्मनी. ये हो रहा था कि नहीं? डेनाइल ऑफ कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी, पॉलिटिकल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, रिप्रेशन और इकोनॉमिक डिप्राइवेशन पॉसिबल है. That if you are a part of a larger empire, okay, and if in that empire you are cultural minority, so minority rights will be affected. This is possible. ये possible हो सकता है. In these cases, अगर इन cases को हम example ले, तो nationalism movement of minority groups which springs as a result of reaction to the policies of performance of central state. कि उस केस में नेशनलिज्म एक रिएक्शन भी हो सकता है माइनॉरिटी ग्रुप्स का, जैसा कि अलग अलग कंट्रीज में देखा भी गया, राइट? एट अदर टाइम्स इट इज अ, वहीं दूसरी तरफ इट मे बी अ काउंटर रिएक्शन either on the part of the political authorities or threatened social groups in response to the political authorities, and therefore it embodies different objectives. There might be different objectives, there are different parameters, different factors, okay, different circumstances in different time interval. But in most of the cases, central state, whether directly or indirectly, plays a key role in manipulating or being the target of nationalist sentiments. कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट नेशनलिस्ट सेंटिमेंट्स को मैनिपुलेट कैसे करती है, ये भी नेशनलिज्म का एक डायमेंशन है जो आप आगे अभी पढ़ने वाले हो. दैट हाउ मुसोलिनी मैनिपुलेट्स व्हाट? nationalist sentiments. How Hitler manipulates nationalist sentiments, that is also a kind of nationalism. फ्रेंच रिवॉल्यूशन में जो हुआ, जैकोबिन्स जिस लिए लड़ रहे थे, वहां पे नेशनलिज्म क्या बन गया? एक तरह का पैट्रियटिज्म. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? तो इट हैज डिफरेंट मीनिंग, डिफरेंट कॉनोटेशंस. ओके, नेशनलिज्म हैज अ ब्रॉड मीनिंग. इसके कई सारे ब्रॉड मीनिंग हो सकते हैं, जैसे वन बीइंग डिफाइनिंग आइडियोलॉजी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट्स. ओके, ये भी हो सकता है आइडियोलॉजी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल इटालियन नेशनलिज्म, जर्मन नेशनलिज्म, सर्ब नेशनलिज्म और पैन स्लाविज्म. नेशनलिज्म है कि नहीं? बताओ, इज इट नेशनलिज्म? यस. So it can be one thing, that Italian nationalism, German nationalism, Serb nationalism. It may be some form of autonomy or independent statehood. जैसे pan Slavism, carving out of a separate state, Serbia for the Serbs. ठीक है, वो इंडिपेंडेंट स्टेटहुड की डिमांड क्या हो गई? नेशनलिज्म हो गई. कहीं पे जाओगे तो फिलिस्तीन की डिमांड क्या हो जाएगी? नेशनलिज्म हो जाएगी. गॉट इट? नाउ of groups striving to achieve or to improve their cultural, political, social and economic rights within the given state. ये भी हो सकता है कि you are given a state, a separate territory has been carved out, and in that separate territory You are asking the central government to recognize your rights. That may also be a kind of nationalism. ठीक है ना? That is also a kind of nationalism. It can be in the form of protest movements also. ठीक है? If the state or the state policies or any other social groups are threatening, in that case, okay, nationalism can be expressed in the form of what? Protest movements also. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? ऐसा नहीं है कि भारत जब आजाद हुआ उसके बाद इंडिया में नेशनलिस्ट मूवमेंट्स नहीं हो सकते, हो सकते हैं. इफ एज अ सिटीजन यू आर डिमांडिंग योर राइट, इट इज व्हाट? Nationalist movement. If peasants are demanding their rights, this is also a kind of nationalist movement. If students are demanding कि पेपर लीक वीक थोड़ा कम कर दो, this is also a kind of nationalist movement. If young women of Bengal are demanding for the justice of that doctor, that is also a kind of nationalist movement. वो भी nationalist movement, right? If you are opposing state atrocities, that is also a kind of nationalist movement. So nationalism has different meanings, and to the core ideology employed by the state to galvanize public support for its policies to reaffirm its nationalism. ये कई बार गवर्नमेंट के लिए भी क्या बन जाता है? It becomes a core ideology for the ruling party or the government, where the government does what? Okay, the state does what? In order to galvanize public support in the favor of its policy, the state also use nationalistic sentiments of the people. They can mold the nationalist sentiments of the people as they like. आपके अंदर नेशनलिस्ट सेंटिमेंट्स को गैल्वेनाइज करना, प्रोमोट करना और उसको अपनी जरूरत के अकॉर्डिंग क्या कर लेना? मोल्ड कर देना. दिस इज ऑल्सो वन टाइप ऑफ नेशनलिज्म टू रीअफर्म द लेजिटिमेसी ऑफ द स्टेट और द गवर्नमेंट. ठीक है? गवर्नमेंट अपनी वैलिडिटी के लिए, मेरी बात समझ गया ना, कई बार पब्लिक सेंटिमेंट्स को भी क्या करती है? गैल्वेनाइज करती है, कंसोलिडेट करती है और उसको मोल्ड करके अपनी पॉलिसीज को सही साबित करने के लिए यूज कर लेती है. ओके, so this nationalism has different dimensions. Okay, got it? 18th and 19th century. देखो 18th and 19th century. 18th and 19th century. What we see? European nationalism. It was like unifying force. Unifying force. What I am why I am saying? Example जो पढ़े हो वही लो. There are so many examples. But Germany और Italy का example ले लो. Unifying force, which brought together people of diverse backgrounds at the price of subordinating their ethnic identities to the larger territorial unit dominated by the secular state. ठीक है? इटली जर्मनी का ही लो, but at the time of Napoleon, you can take this example. 1789 is which century? This is 18th century. Napoleon did what? Napoleon claimed that I am promoting what? The ideals of the revolution. चर्च के डोमिनेंस को मैं क्या कर रहा हूं? कम कर रहा हूं. पहले क्या था? स्टेट का मतलब क्या था? चर्च प्लस स्टेट. नेपोलियन ने क्या किया? curtailed the power of church. Now it was what? Nation plus state. Nation state. चर्च पे कंट्रोल किया था, फ्यूडल एलिमेंट्स पे कंट्रोल किया. यस, डायनेस्टिक जो रूल्स थे, सिस्टम ऑफ प्रिविलेजेस थे, इनको भी कंट्रोल किया. नाउ इट वाज व्हाट? नेशन एंड स्टेट. It was not church and state, it was what? Nation and the state. So in this nation and state, will it be liked and supported by other smaller principalities or the territories? Yes. If Napoleon will claim that I am going to promote the progressive ideals of revolution, so that other states and smaller principalities will come in support of Napoleon, and they will become what? Extended territorial boundary of the Napoleon. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? In the favor of a secular state, they will accept the dominance and control of Napoleon. But 1815 के बाद when Vienna Congress will come and system will be altered again, दोबारा से system change होगा. What will happen? Okay, they will again put to the control of the powerful monarchs of Europe. Now they will fight for their cultural identity to be recognized as their single political identity. ये ऐसे nationalism grow कर रहा है. एक बार किसके सपोर्ट में आ गए? एक पावरफुल स्टेट के सपोर्ट, एम्परर के सपोर्ट में. हु रिप्लेस्ड व्हाट? चर्च प्लस स्टेट विथ नेशन प्लस स्टेट. दे बिकेम पार्ट, दे बिकेम द सैटेलाइट स्टेट्स ऑफ फ्रांस. एंड देन लेटर दे आर फाइटिंग सिंस दे हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड द पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ बीइंग यूनिफाइड, दैट अगर हम एक साथ हैं तो इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्रेस कर सकते हैं, हमारी पॉलिटिकल और डिप्लोमेटिक आइडेंटिटी हो सकती है. तो दे विल फाइट फॉर देयर यूनिफिकेशन. तब वो किस लिए लड़ेंगे? यूनिफिकेशन के लिए लड़ेंगे. This happened here. Okay, so this is the point here, that the background of the evolution went back to the emergence of secular state following the decline of feudal and the rise of industrial system, with effective power shifted from church plus state, from church plus state to nation plus state. Okay, and consequently ethnic loyalties which sometimes transcended the boundaries of these states were seen to be subversive, and every attempt was made to suppress them. अब क्या कह रहा है कि जो एथनिक आइडेंटिटीज है, इट माइट बी पॉसिबल कि यहाँ पे एक कम्युनिटी रह रही है, यहाँ एक कम्युनिटी रह रही है, यहाँ एक कम्युनिटी, यहाँ एक कम्युनिटी, all are having the same ethnic identities. Suppose this state comes under A, these two areas comes under state B, and this comes under state C. तो यहाँ पे एक ethnic minority हो गई. In the context of state A, it is ethnic minority. These two territories, ethnic minorities, are living in the concept of state B, here in the context of state C. So this might be possible that these ethnic communities may demand for their unification. ये अपनी unification की मांग कर सकती. इससे क्या होगा? We are okay dispersed at different places, will come together, we will have a larger diplomatic identity, economic identity. This is also one form of nationalism. I have already discussed this concept. The dominant ideology became that of nationalism, which idealized the secular state and depreciated the maintenance of any linguist, religious and other sentiments that might conflict with the loyalty to it. ठीक है, here nationalism became synonymous with the patriotism. ये आगे बताऊंगा. For example, in Germany what happened? Germans are the pure German races. Okay, Jews are threat to okay the security of the German state. Jews were the cultural minorities. और आपने क्या कहना शुरू किया? ये जो कल्चरल माइनॉरिटी है, ये क्या है? इट इज अ थ्रेट, ये खतरा है जर्मन नेशनल्स के लिए. और हमें क्या करना है? इस कल्चरल कम्युनिटी को ही क्या करना है? वाइप आउट करना है, वाइप आउट द ज्यूज. ओके, तो एक तरफ नेपोलियन था जिसने क्या किया था? प्रोटेक्टेड द राइट्स ऑफ ज्यूज. अगर यूरोप में किसी ने सबसे पहले ज्यूज के राइट्स को प्रोटेक्ट करने की कोशिश की तो वो कौन था? नेपोलियन. वहीं हिटलर क्या कर रहा है? ठीक है, ज्यूज जो है वो कॉकरोच की तरह, इनको देश से क्या करना है? खत्म कर देना है. ठीक है, और हिटलर इसके लिए क्या वर्ड यूज कर रहा है? पैट्रियटिज्म. वी आर पैट्रियटिक, दे आर नॉट पैट्रियटिक. वी आर नेशनल, दे आर एंटी नेशनल. सो हाउ दीज सेंटिमेंट्स वेर यूज्ड, दिस आल्सो वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. क्लियर? ये भी हमें समझने की जरूरत है, दैट हाउ दीज सेंटिमेंट्स वेर used. A similar trend followed the creation of nation states after the collapse of multinational Russian, Austrian-Hungary Empire, Ottoman Empire, aftermath of First World War. It's writing like that after First World War, many new states came into existence. बहुत सारे नए states आए. Okay, change or alteration in the national boundaries take place. ठीक है, Eastern Europe में there will be many smaller states and principalities that will come into existence. This all is also what? This is also the reflection of nationalism. ठीक है ना? In Balkan region, nation states were created. Okay, and where what we see, that no regard, with little or no regard for the rights and aspirations of the ethnic groups trampled within their borders. इसका मतलब this also happened, that change in national boundaries was done in such a manner that at many places the cultural rights or the ethnic rights of cultural minorities were not accepted, and this will create problems for the future. ठीक है, while dividing or deciding the national boundaries, if will not take care of the rights of cultural minorities, this will create problems for the future, and these problems or challenges will also be one of the factor okay in Second World War. Second World War में वो भी एक important factor होगा. Now this is a general debate. Okay, now I am coming to the topic, and let's discuss this topic. Or when I will finish this world history, I will take one lecture on this topic, and I will discuss the entire nationalism debate in the historical perspective, contemporary perspective, and in India. Right? I will discuss everything. But right now we are moving ahead. There is no need to write these things, only some ideas you need to keep in your mind. Now we have discussed this part, that after First World War, we have already discussed this, that this was the First World War, 1914 to 1918, and 1919, what happened? Paris Peace Settlement. We have already discussed this issue. Now we are moving ahead, that what happened between two world war periods. So write this point, between two world wars, important events that took place between two world wars. That is the topic that we need to understand. What are the important events that took place between this period of two world wars? Okay, so देखो, one important effect here is event here is ideological conflicts. Read this, ideological conflict. This is one part, ideological conflict. And when we are talking about ideological conflict, basically here we are talking about what? One ideology is capitalism, the another ideology is socialism, capitalism. Second is socialism. The third is Nazism. The fourth is fascism. Capitalism, socialism, Nazism, fascism. So we need to understand ideological conflicts between, okay, two world wars. That is a very important topic. What are the ideological conflicts between two world war period? Between two world war period. Now, the second important topic that we have to discuss here is that, right, rise of fascism in Italy. Rise of fascism in Italy. And third topic is rise of Nazism in Germany. Rise of Nazism in Germany. Okay. Here we need to discuss one more topic, that is Russian Revolution. तो उसको भी मैं कर लूँगा, बाद में करूँगा discuss 1917. Russian Revolution 1917. Because this idea socialism we can relate here. Russian Revolution 1917. Now the fourth topic will be here. Okay. Rise of fascism in Italy, Nazism in Germany, ideological conflict between these two world wars, and right, fourth reason, fourth point is right, factors responsible for the outbreak of, factors that were responsible for the outbreak of Second World War. That also we need to understand, that what are the factors that were responsible for the outbreak of Second World War. Got it? When we talk about Indian history, okay, we put entire blame on Gandhi and Indian National Congress. But we forget that in India, in our national movement, we were fighting to protect what? Our diversity. And that was one of the most difficult tasks of that time. We were in the mid of 20th century. Or Europe में देखो, in the mid of 19th century, okay, what has happened? The people failed to protect diversity. Here we were fighting to protect that diversity. हमारी लड़ाई उसी बात को थी कि इंडिया की डाइवर्सिटी को हमें क्या करना है? प्रोटेक्ट करना है. और ब्रिटिश की कोशिश क्या थी? व्हाट वाज द कॉलोनियल पॉलिसी? ओके, टू प्रोमोट कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बिटवीन डिफरेंट एथनिक ग्रुप्स और कल्चरल माइनॉरिटीज. दलित्स को हिंदू सोसाइटी से अलग कर दो, मुस्लिम्स को हिंदू से अलग कर दो, प्रिंसली स्टेट्स को अलग कर दो, और इस तरह से क्या होगा? लाइक ईस्टर्न यूरोपियन स्टेट्स, मेनी स्मॉलर स्टेट्स विल कम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस. तो इंडिया की कभी भी एक लार्जर ग्लोबल और डिप्लोमेटिक आइडेंटिटी नहीं हो पाएगी. अगर इंडिया का पार्टीशन हुआ तो ब्लेम कांग्रेस और गांधी पे डालने की बजाय मुस्लिम लीग पे क्यों नहीं डालते हो? ब्रिटिश पॉलिसी ऑफ डिवाइड एंड रूल को क्यों भूल जाते हो? व्हाई यू फॉरगेट अबाउट द इंटरनेशनल एक्सपीरियंसेस of that time? Clear? No doubt some responsibility will come to Indian National Congress also, but it is wrong to put the entire responsibility on Indian National Congress. Okay, from the very beginning INC was opposing these. Okay, now we will start our topic from this part, rise of fascism in Italy. So ideological conflict अपने आप उसमें incorporate हो जाए. So we are going to discuss this topic, and that is rise of fascism in Italy. Rise of fascism in Italy. Okay, first I will do board work here for all these topics, fascism, Nazism, and lastly I will take help of slides to get these concepts revised, because note making is also an important task. Slides से notes नहीं बन पाता है, उसकी सबसे बड़ी बुरी चीज़ यही है. Now, rise of fascism in Italy. Now I am first asking you a question. Okay, we all know this equation BFR. I changed the side. We all know this. I changed the side. I changed the side. We all know this. Draw this sketch first. Russia quit. Russia quit the World War One. Russia quit the World War One in 1917. Don't forget this equation. Otherwise, things will be complicated. ठीक है? Okay. देखो. Now what will happen here? This Italy will change the side, and later this group was supported by you. We all know this. And this was the victorious power. This was the victorious powers in First World War. Okay, victorious powers in First World War. They were the victorious powers. Okay. Okay. Now, this group is known as allies. इसके लिए पॉपुलर एक वर्ड यूज होता है अलाइड पावर और allies. Allies. This will be called central powers. Okay. So we don't need to be confused. ठीक है. There are different words used for this. Allies, and this is what? Central powers. ठीक है. So Italy did what? Italy changed the side. From central powers, Italy joined allies. So we all know this, that Italy later joined allies. Italy later joined allies. Now the question arises, why? Why Italy joined allies? So the answer is right. Answer क्या है? Right. Italy was promised for monetary rewards and territorial gains. Italy was promised for Italy was promised for Italy was promised for monetary rewards. Italy was promised for monetary rewards and territorial gains. Monetary rewards and territorial gains after World War One. Italy was promised for this monetary rewards and territorial gains after First World War One. लालच, यही लालच है ना. So what Italy was expecting? Okay, Italy was a part of victorious power. Yes, Italy is a part of victorious power. तो रशिया तो बीच में ही छोड़ के भाग गया था. We all know this. Russia quit the war in between. Now the four major powers were big four. Now the four major powers were big four. इटली को यही लग रहा था. इटली जब समिट में जा रहा तो कह रहा बिग फोर की मीटिंग होने जा रही है. वहां जाके पता चला बिग फोर नहीं, क्या है, बिग थ्री है. तो नाराज हो गया. बिग फोर. So Italy was considering itself as a big four, but the important role was played by big three. Read this. Important role was played by big three. ये बेचारा अपने आप को बिग फोर समझ रहा था, राइट. बिग फोर में ब्रिटेन, फ्रांस, यूएस एंड इटली. Italy was considering itself to be a part of big three, but what here we see that the important role was played by big three. Big three. नोट्स में जितनी चीजें बताऊंगा मेंटेन करना, ठीक है. आई विल नॉट इंक्लूड अननेसेसरी स्टफ. जो मैंने मैप पे जितनी चीजें बताई वो केवल समझने के लिए थी. लास्टली, when I will discuss the topic, conclude the topic with nationalism, I will dictate the points that you can use in your answers. ठीक है ना. अभी we are trying to build some ideas in our mind. Got it? Important role was played by big three. It means Italy was ignored or neglected. You can write here that Italy's opinions were not given very much importance. Italy's opinion were not given very much importance. Italy's opinions were not given very much importance. Very simple concept. These are the very simple concepts that the Italy's opinion were not given very much importance. And Italy was not sufficiently compensated or rewarded. Read this point also, that Italy was also not sufficiently, Italy was also not sufficiently compensated or not sufficiently rewarded. not sufficiently compensated and not sufficiently rewarded. It was not sufficiently compensated or not sufficiently rewarded. इससे प्रॉब्लम क्या होगा? If Italy is the participant of First World War, so obviously there will be military expenses. It will have an adverse effect on economy. Economic activities will be crippled. Okay, there will be financial challenges. Okay, economic activities will be disrupted. There will be unemployment. There will be the shortage of essential goods and commodities, because all these are what? War effects, and war effects will be seen on each and every country. So Italy was a participant nation, so the war effects were seen on Italy also. And how you can compensate this loss? इस लॉस को कंपेंसेट करने का तरीका क्या था कि कंपेंसेशन अमाउंट से कुछ पैसा आपको मिल जाए, कुछ टेरिटरीज आपको मिल जाए, जिससे आपको क्या हो? इकोनॉमिक गेन्स हो और आप उस लॉस को कंपेंसेट कर सको। मेरी बात समझ गए ना? तो सबसे पहले जो चीज हर्ट हुई है वो है सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट और प्राइड, बिकॉज यू आर इग्नोर्ड, योर सजेशंस वर नॉट गिवन वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंस। तो व्हाट इज अफेक्टेड हियर? सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट एंड प्राइड। और यहाँ पे जो पोस्ट वॉर इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस है, इस पोस्ट वॉर इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस को इस पोस्ट वॉर इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस को सॉल्व करने में जो डिजायर्ड हेल्प एंड सपोर्ट एक्सपेक्टेड था बिग थ्री से, दैट दे डिड नॉट गॉट। तो डिससेटिस्फेक्शन विल इंक्रीज और नॉट? यस, डिससेटिस्फेक्शन विल इंक्रीज। तो यहाँ एक पॉइंट लिख सकते हो, इट हर्ट नेशनलिस्ट सेंटिमेंट्स और प्राइड। यहाँ पे क्या लिखा था? इटलीज ओपिनियन वॉज नॉट गिवन इंपॉर्टेंस, तो इट हर्ट व्हाट? नेशनलिस्ट प्राइड एंड सेंटिमेंट्स। इससे क्या हर्ट हुआ? नेशनलिस्ट प्राइड एंड सेंटिमेंट्स, इट वॉज हर्ट नेशनलिस्ट प्राइड एंड सेंटिमेंट्स। ठीक है, इट हर्ट व्हाट? नेशनलिस्ट प्राइड एंड सेंटिमेंट्स। कि होली रोमन एम्पायर का सक्सेसर इटली है और इटली के साथ इतना बड़ा अपमान, इट हर्ट व्हाट? नेशनलिस्ट sentiments. Now, right, next point, that Italy was a participant, Italy was one of the main participant in World War One. Right, this Italy was one of the main participant in World War First. Italy was one of the main participant in First World War. Read this. So it was also suffering from post-war economic crisis. So Italy was also suffering from post-war economic crisis. Italy was one of the main participant. So Italy was also suffering from post-war economic crisis. It was also suffering from post-war economic crisis. Now write some points here. और ये हर जगह कॉमन होगा जो यहाँ बता रहा हूँ. When I will use this word post-war economic crisis, the points will always be common. Right, point 1 क्या होगा? Lack of supply of essential goods and commodities. जहां भी अब मैं यूज करूंगा वर्ड आपको समझ जाना है, all these points will be included. Lack of supply of essential goods and commodities. Lack of supply of essential goods and commodities. Right, second point. अच्छा बताओ, when lack of supply of essential goods and commodities will happen? Inflation. Right, this inflation. This is one challenge. Inflation. Inflation. Right, third point. Disruption of economic activities. Disruption of economic activities. Disruption of economic activities. Right, next point. Damage to infrastructure. Disruption of economic activities. Next point is damage to physical infrastructure. Damage to physical infrastructure. Damage to physical infrastructure. होगा ना? Okay. Financial crisis. Financial crisis and burden before the state. Financial crisis and burden before the state. Okay. Unemployment लिखा था आपने? Large scale unemployment. Read this. Large scale unemployment. Large scale unemployment. अच्छा देखो, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट को रोकना क्यों जरूरी है? जब गवर्नमेंट सेंसिटिव नहीं रहेगी और अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का लेवल बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा, उस सिचुएशन में क्या होगा? The young people will do what? Will be involved in the criminal activities, anti-lawful activities. And this is for sure. When suppose there is a large scale unemployment and there is a youth, the parents are dying due to disease and hunger, what the person will do? What will be your parameter of what is right and what is wrong? Okay, so these are most alarming situations that we need to address, right? That if you want to promote a kind of discipline among the youth, so what is needed? Giving them employment, generating new forms of employment, otherwise the youth energy will be diverted. ठीक है, और जितनी यूथ की एनर्जी क्रिएटिव हो सकती है उतनी ही ज्यादा क्या हो सकती है? डिस्ट्रक्टिव भी हो सकती है। ठीक है, सो ऑल दीज चैलेंजेस आर देयर एंड व्हाट हैज हैपेंड? इटली हैज फेल्ड टू गेट कंपेंसेशन। पहले लिख लिया है ना, हैव यू? इट वाज नॉट एडिक्वेटली कंपेंसेटेड। so obviously, okay, and the third important point here, write this third aspect is right. Third aspect, weak and ineffective government, weak and ineffective government in Italy. इन सब के बाद जो अगली प्रॉब्लम है वो ये है, वीक एंड इनइफेक्टिव गवर्नमेंट। तो ये तो बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए। when there are such kind of alarming situations in the country, then the weak and ineffective government will not be able to handle these situations. So this weak and ineffective government, read this, it was not able to handle these situations, not able to handle these situations, not able to handle these situations. Weak, ineffective government was not able to handle these situations. Now tell me one thing, if there is economic crisis, unemployment, in streets there are food riots, and the government is not able to handle this situation, and this is the time when what is happening? Socialist ideas, communist ideas are getting popularity in Europe. ये वही टाइम था, और यूरोप में ही नहीं, अब इंडिया में भी सोशलिस्ट आइडियाज पॉपुलर हो रहे थे। ओके, सो ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, राइट, fourth point here, you can draw some sketch and you can easily relate 1848, okay, communist manifesto. Communist manifesto, you all know about this book written by Marx and Engels, and what will happen? The growth and promotion of communist ideas. ठीक है, growth and promotion of communist ideas. I will discuss later that what is difference between socialism, communism and all this. Here we are just proceeding, आगे बढ़ जा रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, वो अलग चैप्टर में बताऊंगा। सो ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ कम्युनिस्ट आइडियाज, ये यूरोप में क्या हो रहा है? तेजी से पॉपुलर हो रहा है। इट इज गेटिंग पॉपुलैरिटी इन यूरोप, गेटिंग पॉपुलैरिटी इन यूरोप। और ऐसा नहीं है, बिफोर दिस ऑल्सो द सोशलिस्ट आइडियाज वेर देयर, इसके पहले भी सोशलिस्ट आइडियाज थे, ठीक है। एंड कम्युनिज्म इज व्हाट? अ काइंड ऑफ रेडिकल फॉर्म ऑफ सोशलिज्म। सोशलिज्म का ये काफी मतलब कट्टर वर्जन है। आई विल डिस्कस इट लेटर। नाउ दिस ऑल इज हैपनिंग, ओके। नाउ 1917 में क्या हो गया है? ओके, रशियन रिवॉल्यूशन। एंड रशियन रिवॉल्यूशन इज व्हाट? फर्स्ट सोशलिस्ट रिवॉल्यूशन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। ठीक है, फर्स्ट सोशलिस्ट रिवॉल्यूशन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। 1920-22 के बीच में क्या हो गया है? यूएसएसआर, यूनाइटेड सोवियत सोशलिस्ट रिपब्लिक, United Soviet Socialist Republic, and this republic is what? A group of those nations, who are having this, okay, socialist model. A group of those nations who are having socialist model. Why this socialism as a model is becoming popular after First World War? पहले ही एक इसका मॉडल आ चुका है 1917 में, बट आफ्टर फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर व्हाट विल हैपन? पॉवर्टी, गरीबी, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, बेरोजगारी। मेरी बात समझ गया ना? there will be poverty, there will be unemployment, there will be large scale problems that are related to these economic challenges, and these challenges are like the fertile ground for the growth and popularity of socialism. ये fertile ground है socialism के लिए, communism के लिए। communist ideas, for example, Naxalites, Generally they claim that they derive their ideas from Marx. और ये नक्सलाइट कम्युनिस्ट आइडियाज कहाँ पे पॉपुलर है? हालांकि अब तो मैंने बताया कि उनका फॉर्म काफी डिफरेंट हो चुका है. दैट्स वन ऑफ द मोस्ट बिगेस्ट इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी चैलेंज. तो नक्सल एरियाज, वो एरियाज कैसे हैं? डेवलप्ड और नॉट डेवलप्ड, नॉट डेवलप्ड. ओके, तो देखो जहां भी चैलेंजेस होंगे, ठीक है, इकोनॉमिक चैलेंजेस होंगे, तो वो इकोनॉमिक चैलेंजेस एक तरह से फर्टाइल जमीन तैयार करेंगे किस चीज के लिए? ग्रोथ एंड प्रमोशन ऑफ कम्युनिस्ट आइडियाज. इट मीन्स व्हाट इज हैपनिंग after first world war? The challenges are seen in different nations, and communism as the idea is getting popularity. And now in Italy, what is the problem? Government is weaker, ineffective, economic challenges are, okay, just you can say that their intensity is increasing. Government is unable to handle these challenges. Now in this situation what will happen? इस situation में क्या होगा? There is a threat of a spread of communism in Italy. ठीक है, danger of expansion of communism in Italy. This was the threat. Okay, so you can write here that these economic challenges plus the weaker and ineffective government, economic challenges plus weaker and ineffective government, weaker and ineffective government were presenting the most favorable conditions. Economic challenges plus weaker and ineffective government, economic challenges plus weaker and ineffective government were presenting the most favorable conditions for the growth and expansion of, they were presenting the most favorable conditions for the growth and expansion of communism in Italy. Growth and expansion of communism in Italy, and that is what danger of spreading communism, danger of spreading communism. communism के उभरने का खतरा है इटली में. Got it? Danger of spreading communism. Now if there is a threat or danger that communism may become popular in Italy, okay, so which class will be the most worried class? इसमें सबसे चिंता किस बात को होगी? Capitalist class, businessman. Okay, so in this situation, write this, in this situation the capitalist class, the capitalist class or businessman, capitalist class or the class of businessmen, they are very much worried, they are very much worried. ये बहुत चिंतित है. Capitalist class or class of businessmen, they are very much worried. वो बहुत चिंतित है. Got it? They are very much worried that this might happen. Now देखो, now in Italy what we see, there is a ruling party. Read this, there is a ruling party and there is a opposition party. There is opposition party, and opposition party is fascist party. Opposition party is fascist. Ruling party plus opposition party. Opposition party is fascist party. Now which party had signed, which party has attended Paris Peace Summit? Ruling party. पेरिस पीस समिट को किसने अटेंड किया था? रूलिंग पार्टी एंड देयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स. जाएंगे तो वही ना कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करने. तो रूलिंग पार्टी एंड देयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स, रूलिंग पार्टी एंड देयर representatives attended Paris Peace Conference. And in Paris Peace Conference, what was the outcome? Okay, outcome was not sufficient, so the people are not happy. देखो हम लोग भी नेशनलिस्ट सेंटिमेंट जब जोरों पे होता है तो हम भी क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं कि कौन से प्राइम मिनिस्टर, कौन से प्रेसिडेंट कहाँ बिरयानी खाने गए थे. गुस्से में आप बोलते हो ना. तो इफ द आउटकम विल नॉट बी बेटर, व्हाट विल हैपन? The people will criticize you, right? And what is happening here? What is happening here? The ruling party and their representatives attended the conference, and the outcome was not sufficient. So they were already criticized for this by the opposition party. They were already criticized for this by the opposition party. Opposition का काम ही है हल्ला बोल. अपोजिशन बार बार स्पीचेस में, ये वही लोग हैं जो पेरिस पीस कॉन्फ्रेंस में गए थे, अपनी बात को बहुत प्रभावी ढंग से नहीं रख पाए, इसलिए इटली को कुछ नहीं मिला. They will deliver speeches like this. That these are the same people who have attended Paris Peace Conference. They failed to put the voices of the Italian masses in an effective manner, and that's why Italy is suffering today. They are responsible for the cause of plight of the people. लोगों को लगेगा बहुत अच्छा स्पीच दे रहा है. ओके, लीडर ऐसे देखो कभी भी आप, ठीक है, ये एक इतिहास में, हिस्ट्री में ये चीज चला आ रहा है कि एंटी एस्टेब्लिशमेंट स्पीचेस आर वेरी पॉपुलर एंड द पीपल आर वेरी पॉपुलर. तो कई बार स्पीच दे के पॉपुलर होने के चक्कर में लोग क्या कर देते हैं, ठीक है, नेशन का ही ध्यान नहीं रखते. मेरी बात समझ गया ना, यहाँ पे वो प्रॉब्लम अभी देखने को मिलेगी. ओके, नाउ दे आर क्रिटिसाइजिंग द रूलिंग पार्टी. नाउ पॉइंट नंबर 2, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? The government was successfully handling the challenges, or it was not handling the challenges? It was not handling the challenges also. So read this. The ruling party was also criticized because it failed to handle the challenges. It failed to handle the challenges. Ruling party was also criticized because it failed to handle the challenges. It failed to handle the challenges. अब रूलिंग पार्टी की क्रिटिसिज्म हो रही है. अब फासिस्ट पार्टी के मेंबर्स मिलेंगे किससे? कैपिटलिस्ट से, बिजनेसमैन क्लास से. किसी भी पार्टी को बड़ा बनने के लिए क्या चाहिए? फंडिंग. वो पैसा कौन देगा? पैसा कौन देगा? कैपिटलिस्ट, businessman. Now the fascist party members will approach the capitalist class and they will say that the ruling party is unable to solve the economic challenges in Italy, and they will not be able to counter or to stop the spread of communism in India. इनके सॉरी इटली, इनके बस की बात नहीं है कि इटली में कम्युनिज्म को पॉपुलर होने से रोक सके. वो कौन कर सकता है? हम कर सकते हैं. We can do this. Now this opposition party is saying that it is beyond the ability of these ruling party members. They cannot counter the spread and growth of communism in Italy, but we can do it. We will stop communism from becoming popular in Italy. We will stop the spread of communism in Italy. हम इटली में कम्युनिज्म के स्प्रेड को रोक सकते हैं. कैपिटलिस्ट क्लास ने कहा बहुत बढ़िया, अगर कम्युनिज्म आया तो फिर तो प्रॉपर्टी का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो जाएगा, अपने पास कुछ बचेगा नहीं. तो दे विल डू व्हाट? दे विल डाइवर्ट देयर फंडिंग टू विच पार्टी? फासिस्ट. ओके, एंड फासिस्ट पार्टी वाज लेड बाय विच लीडर? मुसोलिनी. ठीक है. नाउ दिस पार्टी विल प्रेशराइज द रूलिंग पार्टी कि देखो भाई, देश का बेड़ा गर्क कर रहे हो, तुमसे कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा है, तो एक फासिस्ट कैबिनेट अपॉइंट करो. यू मस्ट अपॉइंट अ फासिस्ट कैबिनेट. It means all the members of that cabinet will be the members that is of fascist ideology. Fascist ideology वाले members को अपॉइंट करो अपनी कैबिनेट में, और तब आप प्रॉब्लम्स को हैंडल कर पाओगे. तो पहले क्या होगा? गवर्नमेंट किसको लेके आएगी? फासिस्ट कैबिनेट को. और उसके बाद क्या होगा? मौका देखते ही फासिस्ट कैबिनेट क्या करेगी? मुसोलिनी को ले आएगी. मुसोलिनी विल बिकम द रूलर, एंड इन दिस वे व्हाट वी सी दैट मुसोलिनी कम्स टू पावर. ओके, दिस इज द इंटायर स्टोरी. इन शॉर्ट दिस इज द स्टोरी. हमने उतना ही समझा जितनी जानने की जरूरत थी. तो ये आपने लिख लिया, पॉइंट्स लिख लिए. ओके, राइट नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, राइट नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. नाउ फासिस्ट पार्टी मेंबर्स, नाउ द फासिस्ट पार्टी मेंबर्स led by Mussolini, fascist party members led by Mussolini claimed that claimed that claimed that fascist party members led by Mussolini claimed that they will stop they will stop they will stop the growing danger of a spread of communism in Italy. They will stop the growing danger of spread of communism in Italy. They will stop the growing danger of a spread of communism in Italy. It means we will stop Okay, they will stop the growing danger of a spread of communism in Italy. Okay, now there was what it mean in, and in this way when they will claim this fascist party and Mussolini, right, will get the support of capitalist class, will get the support of capitalist class, they will get funds, will get the support of capitalist class, and they will get funds. इनको capitalist class का support मिलेगा and they will get the funds. इटली में सिस्टम क्या था? देयर वाज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोनार्की. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोनार्की में क्या होता है? किंग प्लस अ काइंड ऑफ नेशनल असेंबली. ओके, एंड दिस नेशनल असेंबली, इसमें भी क्या होते हैं? देयर इज अ ग्रुप ऑफ सम इंपॉर्टेंट मिनिस्टर्स, ग्रुप ऑफ सम इंपॉर्टेंट मिनिस्टर्स, ग्रुप ऑफ सम इंपॉर्टेंट मिनिस्टर्स, दैट इज कॉल्ड कैबिनेट. यही स्ट्रक्चर होता है ना. नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन? fascist party will be successful in bringing a fascist cabinet here. Okay, so this will happen, right? This here, what will happen? A fascist cabinet will be appointed. A fascist cabinet will be appointed, and Mussolini was the president of this fascist cabinet. Mussolini was the president of this fascist cabinet. Mussolini was the president of this fascist cabinet. Okay, what Mussolini will do? नेशनल असेंबली में जो है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट कर सकता है कि नहीं? यस. सो व्हाट दे विल डू? राइट दिस, द लॉज विल बी अमेंडेड, लॉज विल बी अमेंडेड, लॉज विल बी अमेंडेड, लॉज विल बी अमेंडेड, and laws will be amended, and Mussolini consolidated his position. Mussolini consolidated his position as a dictator, and Mussolini consolidated his position as a dictator, consolidated his position as a dictator. Now the role of king is over. Now this president has become dictator. Mussolini consolidated his position as dictator. In this way, what we see, 1922, read this, 1922, Mussolini comes to power. Read this, 1922, Mussolini comes to power. Mussolini comes to power. Okay. And color consciousness also plays a very important role in this idea of nationalism. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? फॉर एग्जाम्पल रशिया में जाओगे, रेड कलर, फासिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी, ब्लैक कलर, ब्लैक शर्ट वॉलंटियर्स. ठीक है, आज मैंने भी ब्लैक शर्ट पहना है, तो ब्लैक शर्ट वॉलंटियर्स. रेड दिस. तो यहाँ पे मुसोलिनी की टीम क्या है? ब्लैक शर्ट वॉलंटियर्स. दैट इज व्हाट? ब्लैक शर्ट volunteers. That is black shirt volunteers. So this is fascist party, and this is the dictator of this fascist party. Now another important point देखो. Now the fascist party की ideology क्या होगी? fascist party, is it anti capitalist? तो ध्यान से समझना है इस बात को कि fascist party, okay, it is not capitalist party. It is favoring the rights of capitalists, but it is what? Anti-capitalist. And at the same time, it is what? Anti-socialist and anti-communist. ये दोनों है. Okay. For that, we need to discuss the ideologies. Right? This. It is anti-capitalists. Why anti-capitalists? I will discuss anti-capitalists. And on the second part, it is anti-communist, or also it is anti-communist ideology also. Okay. तो आइडियोलॉजी है कैसी? देखो, जहां भी कैपिटलिज्म आएगा तो कैपिटलिज्म विल सपोर्ट व्हाट? डेमोक्रेटिक राइट्स. कैपिटलिज्म किसको सपोर्ट कर देगा? डेमोक्रेटिक राइट्स को. गॉट इट? लिबरल राइट्स को. और यहां पे क्या है? डिक्टेटरशिप. तो इट इज व्हाट? ओके, एंटी डेमोक्रेटिक. सो राइट द फीचर्स. नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस फासिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी. फासिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी. Okay, some basic points in this fascist ideology we are going to discuss. Some basic points in this fascist ideology. Point 1, it will be democratic or anti-democratic in nature. Anti-democratic. all the power consolidated in the hands of a single leader. It means it is what? Anti-democratic, right? This, it is anti-democratic, and that's why we are also calling it anti-capitalist. समझ में आया आपको? Where we are calling it anti-democratic, ये क्या है? Anti-democratic है ये, right? Because Mussolini has emerged as dictator, right? This dictator, all powers consolidated in the hands of a single person, all powers consolidated in the hands of a single person. Mussolini is the dictator, all powers concentrated in the hand of single people. Okay. Mussolini क्या मानता है कि सब पॉलिटिकल इक्वलिटी, ओके, कहा ये कहाँ का मतलब है कि हर आदमी को पॉलिटिक्स में लेके आओ, नेशनल असेंबली में बिठा दो, पार्लियामेंट में बिठा दो. He is saying that no, okay, all cannot handle this task. There are some selected individuals, okay, who can run the government, effective government. If you will give opportunity to all, okay, so it is meaningless. The nation will not progress. तो ये तो अलग तरह का कॉन्सेप्ट मानता है. In India, what is the concept? Okay, we can do vote, we can cast vote, we can contest election. ऐसा नहीं है कि only some selected individuals have the capability to govern or to rule. यहाँ पे हो रहा है. Okay, so Mussolini believes what? That, right, this Mussolini believed that only some selected individuals can handle the task of administration. Only some selected individuals can handle the task of administration and governance. So the concept of elected representatives of people for this task is meaningless. So the concept of elected representatives of people for performing this task is meaningless. The concept of elected representatives of people for performing this task is meaningless. बहुत खतरनाक आदमी है तो, right? Concept of elected representatives of this for this task is meaningless. अच्छा बताओ, जब elected representatives नहीं होंगे तो वन पार्टी सिस्टम और मल्टी पार्टी सिस्टम, जब इलेक्शन करवाना ही नहीं है तो पार्टी एक ही रहेगी. अच्छा, जब इलेक्शन होगा ही नहीं तो सुप्रीम लीडर कितने होंगे? वन. तो दिस इज व्हाट? वन लीडर, वन पार्टी सिस्टम, एंड लास्ट मिला के एक पॉइंट जोड़ देगा नेशनलिज्म का, वन लीडर, वन पार्टी, वन नेशन. हर बात में क्या लाके जोड़ दो? नेशनलिज्म. इससे क्या होगा? लोग खुश हो जाएंगे, उनको पता नहीं चलेगा कि इनको बेवकूफ बना रहा है, राइट? तो वन नेशन, वन पार्टी, वन लीडर, वन नेशन. कॉन्सेप्ट घुमा दिया उसने. इसको कहते हैं कि लोगों के नेशनलिस्ट सेंटिमेंट्स को गैल्वनाइज करना, कंसोलिडेट करना और उसको अपने फायदे के लिए यूज कर लेना, राइट? इसमें वन नेशन, already it was one nation. So read this point. It means Mussolini believed in what? One leader. Read this. One leader. अब ये डेमोक्रेसी थोड़ी ना हुआ. वन पार्टी एंड वन नेशन. वन लीडर, वन पार्टी एंड वन नेशन. ये नेशनलिज्म का इंजेक्शन है. वन नेशन, ठीक है? और उसके बाद नेशनलिज्म का इंजेक्शन का डोज बढ़ा देगा. कैसे? लुक हियर. वन नेशन. रेड दिस. वन नेशन मेरो मार्क देके लिखो. रेड दिस पॉइंट दैट ओके, each and every citizen of the nation, each and every citizen of the nation, write this, each and every citizen of the nation to focus on building or promoting, each and every citizen of the nation should focus on building or promoting the greatness and the pride of the nation. Each and every citizen should focus on building or promoting the greatness and pride of the nation. Write one more point. ये लिख लिया आपने. Write one more point that आवर ओन नेशन इज सुपीरियर देन द अदर नेशंस। अभी ये अगला इंजेक्शन लगाया, हमारा राष्ट्र दूसरे राष्ट्रों से सुपीरियर है, राइट। आवर ओन नेशन इज सुपीरियर टू अदर नेशंस, आवर ओन नेशन इज सुपीरियर टू अदर नेशन। और अगला डोज नेशनलिज्म का, राइट, वन मोर पॉइंट, दैट वी हैव टू ब्रिंग बैक द पास्ट ग्लोरी ऑफ इटली, राइट, वन अनदर पॉइंट, that we are committed to bring back the past glory of Italy. We are committed to bring back the past glory of Italy. Nationalism का अगला इंजेक्शन, राइट, वन मोर पॉइंट, we are committed to bring back the past glory of Italy, and right, next point, we are always ready to fight war to bring back this past glory of Italy. ठीक है, वी आर ऑलवेज रेडी टू फाइट वॉर, हम हमेशा लड़ने के लिए तैयार है। वी आर ऑलवेज रेडी, एग्रेसिव नेशनलिज्म इंक्लूड कर दिया, वी आर ऑलवेज रेडी टू फाइट वॉर टू ब्रिंग बैक द पास्ट ग्लोरी ऑफ इटली। ब्रैकेट में लिख लेना एग्रेसिव नेशनलिज्म, वी आर ऑलवेज रेडी, ओके, टू फाइट वॉर टू ब्रिंग बैक द पास्ट ग्लोरी ऑफ इटली। ये क्या हो गई, एग्रेसिव नेशनलिज्म। फॉरेन पॉलिसी क्या हो गया, एग्रेसिव फॉरेन पॉलिसी, राइट दिस पॉइंट, एग्रेसिव नेशनलिज्म, एग्रेसिव फॉरेन पॉलिसी। और मुसोलिनी का एक स्टेटमेंट है, राइट दिस स्टेटमेंट, व्हाट ही राइट्स, मुसोलिनी राइट अ स्टेटमेंट, पीस इज एब्सर्ड, शांति बकवास है, ठीक है, पीस इज एब्सर्ड, ओके, पीस इज इंजरियस फॉर द हेल्थ ऑफ एनी नेशन, शांति बकवास है और किसी भी राष्ट्र की सेहत के लिए ठीक नहीं है। पीस इज एब्सर्ड, इट इज इंजरियस फॉर द हेल्थ ऑफ एनी नेशन, ठीक है, पीस इज एब्सर्ड, इट इज इंजरियस फॉर द हेल्थ ऑफ एनी नेशन। इतना इंजेक्शन लग गया नेशनलिज्म का कि लोगों को डेमोक्रेसी नहीं चाहिए। They need what? They want to bring back the past glory of Italy. उसके लिए एक लीडर को आपको चुनना होगा, and now that leader is what? Mussolini. Okay. Now some people will ask, कि what about individual rights? He will say इनको किनारे ले चलो जो individual rights की बात कर रहे हैं। Some people will ask, what about individual rights? Now what Mussolini will say? Mussolini will say that, okay, if we are fighting to bring back the past glory of Italy, so what is the need for individual rights? Individual rights का करोगे क्या? Okay, we are surrendering our individual rights for our state, for our nation. हम अपनी इंडिविजुअल राइट्स को सरेंडर कर रहे हैं, आत्मसमर्पण नहीं चाहिए हमें, फॉर आवर स्टेट, बिकॉज स्टेट इज एवरीथिंग, स्टेट इज अबव एवरीथिंग, ओके, there is nothing outside the state, everything is inside the state, and now promise me you are surrendering your individual rights to the state. लगा दिया अगला इंजेक्शन, लोगों ने कहा नहीं चाहिए इंडिविजुअल राइट, ओके, in this way the people were convinced. So right, next point, a state is next point, state was okay, state was above everything, state was above everything, state was above everything, state was above everything, okay, write one more point, that okay, state was ever above everything, there is nothing outside the state but everything is inside the state, there was nothing outside the state, there was nothing outside the state, there was nothing outside the state, but everything was inside the state, everything was inside the state. So the people will have to surrender their individual rights to the state. So the people will have to surrender their individual rights. The people will have to surrender individual rights to the state. Got it? इसके बाद रोल आएगा कैपिटलिस्ट का. कैपिटलिस्ट विल से दैट हमारा क्या होगा, तो मुसोलिनी के पास उनके लिए भी इंजेक्शन है. एंड व्हाट मुसोलिनी विल से, राइट दिस, idea of corporate state was introduced. Here what happened, the idea of corporate state was introduced. Okay, what is the corporate state? This concept is also very much interesting. ठीक है, idea of corporate state. Okay, तो देखो क्या होगा. For example, generally what happens, okay, is that corporates work for the benefit of self. Suppose I am the owner of a company, so I work to maximize my benefit or my gain. ठीक है, कैपिटलिस्ट क्या करेगा, अपने फायदे को बढ़ाने की कोशिश करेगा. मुसोलिनी विल हैव एन इंजेक्शन फॉर द कैपिटलिस्ट आल्सो. मुसोलिनी विल से दैट yes, you must work, you must utilize your full potential to grow your business, but always keep it in mind, you are not working to promote your self interest, but we are working hard to promote the pride and glory of our nation. तुम पैसा कमाओ, लेकिन पैसा कमाने का मोटिव ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि तुम अपना ग्रोथ करोगे. तुम्हें हमें मिल के किसका ग्रोथ करना है, नेशन का. ओके, सो यू आर वर्किंग फॉर द नेशन, यू हैव राइट टू प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी. आपकी कंपनी के मालिक आप ही हो, लेकिन आपको क्या करना है, इटली के प्राइड और ऑनर के लिए इंडस्ट्री को बिल्ड करना है. वर्कर से क्या कहेगा, ओके, यू आर वर्किंग इन दिस कंपनी, capitalist is managing all the economic activities, but actually you are working for the nation. We have to bring back the past glory of Italy. तो लोग क्या कहेंगे, 8 आवर्स की शिफ्ट में 12 आवर्स काम करेंगे, बिकॉज दे आर वर्किंग टू ब्रिंग बैक द पास्ट ग्लोरी ऑफ इटली. कैपिटलिस्ट और वर्कर के बीच में झगड़ा नहीं होगा, झगड़ा ही तो है कम्युनिज्म. वर्कर्स फाइट फॉर देयर राइट विद द कैपिटलिस्ट, द रिजल्ट इज व्हाट, कम्युनिज्म. एंड हियर व्हाट विल हैपन, कैपिटलिस्ट क्लास विल सपोर्ट ईच अदर. कहेगा अपनी कंट्री के अंदर कैपिटलिस्ट क्लास आपस में मत लड़ो, आपस में एक दूसरे को मिल के कोऑपरेट करके इस तरह का एक इकोनॉमिक कॉम्पिटिटिव इन्वायरमेंट तैयार करो जिससे हम compete कर सके यूरोप के दूसरे कॉम्पिटिटर्स के साथ. वर्कर्स अपने मालिक से नहीं लड़ेंगे, वर्कर्स विल कोऑपरेट, बिकॉज जब तक ये कोऑपरेशन नहीं रहेगा वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू बूस्ट आवर इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. We all are working for the pride of promoting the pride of our nation. लगा दिया इंजेक्शन इटली की इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी. And you will be surprised to know that Italy progressed under these dictators. Okay, and this progress and growth was unexpected. There is a sharp rise in economic prosperity and economic progress under these dictators. ठीक है, कितना खतरनाक इंजेक्शन है. बट उस ग्रोथ का मतलब क्या है बताओ. इफ यू आर मेकिंग प्रोग्रेस, ठीक है, इतना प्रोग्रेस करो, इतना पढ़ाई कर लो, इतना पढ़ाई कर लो, यू आर रीडिंग फॉर 18 आवर्स, और मेंस एग्जाम के ठीक पहले बीमार पड़ जाओ, क्या होगा, एडमिट कार्ड भी आ गया और आप एग्जाम नहीं दे पा रहे हो, क्यों, क्योंकि बीमार पड़ गए. उतना भी नहीं करना है ना, मेरी बात समझ गए. यहाँ क्या होगा, ऑल दिस इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्रेस एंड प्रॉस्पेरिटी, ओके, विल बी मीनिंगलेस बिकॉज द फॉरेन पॉलिसी इज एग्रेसिव, it is attracting wars. Ultimately second world war will be fought and Italy will face destruction होगा. मेरी बात समझ गया ना. तो इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी को अगर हम पीस के साथ जोड़ के लेके चलेंगे, मेरी बात समझ गया ना, तो इट विल बी ड्यूरेबल. बट हियर व्हाट विल हैपन, इट इज शॉर्ट लिव्ड. second world war will be fought and Italy's economic prosperity will be destroyed again. This happened. Got it? So here write this point, this is called idea of corporate state. Write this idea of corporate state, write 22 corporations were formed. 22 corporations were formed. Here I am not discussing in very detail, केवल essence बताया आपको. Write this क्योंकि इतने से ही काम चल जाएगा. Right? So 22 corporations were formed. Right, next point. Okay. Separate department to deal with these industries. Separate department deal with these industries. Okay, separate department to deal with these industries. Capitalist right to private property was retained. Capitalist right to private property was retained. कैपिटलिस्ट राइट टू प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी वॉज रिटेन्ड। कैपिटलिस्ट की राइट टू प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी क्या की जाएगी, रिटेन की जाएगी, बनी रहने दी जाएगी, राइट। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, बट दे वेर आस्क्ड वर्क टू promote the pride of the country. They were asked to work for the country, not for their own self interest, right? They were asked to work for their country, not for their own self interest. Clear? अपने country के pride के लिए लड़ना है, not for our own self interest. They were asked to work to promote the pride of the country, not for their own self interest. ठीक है ना? और इसमें क्या होगा, cooperation between the capitalist class, yes, all will cooperate to bring economic prosperity. Write this point. Workers, okay, workers rights, workers rights, workers। अच्छा देखो एक और बात है, अगर आप वर्कर को बेनिफिट्स दे दो, उसको सैलरी दे दो, वर्किंग आवर्स डिफाइन कर दो, उसको राइट्स दे दो, तो क्या वो कम्युनिस्ट आइडिया की तरफ जाएगा, नहीं जाएगा ना। So this was also done. Right, this workers issues were addressed, workers concerns were addressed, they were given their benefits, workers issues were also addressed, they were given their benefits like health benefits, social security benefits, working hours, etc., right? They were given their benefits like health benefits, social security benefits, working hours, etc. They were given their benefits, okay. And an appeal was made, that workers should work to promote the glory of the nation. Workers should work to promote the glory of the nation. ये भी अपील किया गया। Now what is the overall impact? Overall impact क्या है? Overall impact, read this. Economic difficulties before Italy were addressed effectively. Economic difficulties before Italy were addressed effectively. लोगों को वही चाहिए था. They got employment. Economic activities were restored. They were addressed effectively. Right, next point. Stable political system and effective governance. Stable political system and effective governance. Strong foreign policy. Strong foreign policy. ये हुआ. Strong foreign policy. Okay. Private property, rights to private property were retained or protected. Rights to private property were retained or protected. Right, next point. Effective governance. Read this. Military empowerment. Check on corruption. Effective governance, military empowerment, check on corruption, okay, check on corruption. Right, next point. Social infrastructure, schools, health facilities were increased. Social infrastructure, it means schools and all this were opened. Social infrastructure, okay. Education was promoted, health facilities were opened, new health facilities were opened. Right, next point. Economic state of economic self-sufficiency was achieved. State of economic self-sufficiency was achieved. But what is the most important point? एक सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है? फासिस्ट प्रोपेगेंडा. और प्रोपेगेंडा क्या होता है? स्कूल में बच्चों को चैप्टर पढ़ाते हुए क्या करो? फासिस्ट आइडियाज प्रमोट करो. एजुकेशन सिस्टम वॉज इंटॉक्सिकेटेड. एजुकेशन सिस्टम में पैट्रियटिज्म के नाम पे क्या किया गया? फासिस्ट आइडियाज वेर इंक्लूडेड. Now this education system was intoxicated. Now the young children who are in schools, okay, they are getting education and their sentiments are filled with aggressive nationalism. They are highly motivated by the fascist ideas. Okay, तो आगे चल के क्या बनेंगे? सोल्जर, और उसको सोल्जर की जरूरत है to fight war. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? So this was done. But what the people of Italy wanted or desired after First World War? A powerful Italy. Italy which is having a more powerful diplomatic identity, more powerful military, good economic prosperity. All this was introduced by Mussolini. But the cost was at the cost of sacrificing civil liberties and peace. दो चीजों को भूल जाओ. And whenever you will sacrifice civil liberties and peace for prosperity, तो ये सौदा फायदे का नहीं है. You should fight to protect your civil liberties. So all this development at the cost of sacrifice of sacrifice of civil liberties, at the cost of sacrifice of civil liberties, all this development is at the cost of sacrifice of civil liberties and peace. तो बताओ, was Italy preparing itself for the war? Yes, it was preparing itself for the, ठीक है. This is Italy under fascist regime under Mussolini. So if someone asks you the ideas of Mussolini, the answer will be the same. If someone asks you the fascist ideology, the answer will be the same. Why fascist ideology became popular in Italy? The answer is the same. Why the people of Italy accepted Mussolini as their dictator? They celebrated this event. You have got the answer. So these are some of the simple questions that we need to answer. Okay. In next class, I will discuss with you Germany, Hitler and fascism, and then I will discuss that, okay, why these ideas became so much powerful. Was there any policy of appeasement that was followed by the capitalist countries? So we'll discuss all these issues, and this entire discussion and debate is very much interesting. इसको कभी भी ऐसे मत पढ़ो कि this is given in syllabus and that's why I am reading. You must think that I should know this. मुझे जानना चाहिए कि why First World War took place, why Second World War took place, why fascism, what is Nazism, what is nationalism. We should know this. मैंने बोला ना कि when you learn these things, ultimately what is going to happen? A time will come when all this knowledge will be reflected in your personality. और भविष्य में हम क्या होंगे ये हमें नहीं पता है. अगर आपने अपने टारगेट को फिक्स कर लिया है कि मुझे आईएएस बनना है, तो हो सकता है कि आप आईएएस बनने के बाद शायद कुछ और बनो जो आपको नहीं पता है. ठीक है. वी डोंट नो दैट व्हाट वी विल डू इन आवर फ्यूचर. दिल को खुश रखने का गालिब ख्याल अच्छा है कि हम जीवन में अपना उद्देश्य तय कर लेते हैं. बट एवरीथिंग इज प्री डिटरमाइंड. आई एम अ टीचर टूडे, बट आफ्टर 2 और 3 और 5 ईयर गॉड नोस. कौन जानता है, कहीं मैं प्रधानमंत्री बन जाऊं. ठीक है. कुछ भी हो सकता है. ठीक है. तो इसीलिए घबराना नहीं है. जो पढ़ो उस नॉलेज को इंटीग्रेट करो. दैट इज द ओनली थिंग. ओके. तो यूपीएससी नीड्स व्हाट? रिफ्लेक्टिव educators, not robotic educators, and reflective aspirants, not robotic aspirants. मेरी बात समझ गए ना. किताब में जो लाइन लिखी गई है वो रट लोगे तो यूपीएससी में काम नहीं आएगा. हमने किताब की ही चीज़ों को पढ़ा है, बट वी आर डिस्कसिंग, एंड आई एक्सपेक्ट कि आगे आप भी डिस्कस करोगे, कुछ एक सवाल करोगे मुझसे. ठीक है ना. ओके. इज देयर एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेश्चन? कोई डाउट है? नहीं. चलिए ठीक है. तो इन नेक्स्ट क्लास वी विल डिस्कस द अदर थीम, और थोड़े 3-4 क्लासेस ज़्यादा लगेंगे जो मैं रेगुलर पढ़ाता हूँ उससे, बट देर इज़ अ पर्पस बिहाइंड दिस. ठीक है. कि शायद हमें कोई बुक ना पढ़नी पड़े, इवन एनसीईआरटी. मैंने एक बुक बताया भी था, कुछ चैप्टर्स हैं, बट व्हेन आई विल फिनिश दिस वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, तो आई विल डिस्कस दिस डिबेट ऑफ नेशनलिज्म. ओके. और तब आप उस डिबेट को शायद बेटर ढंग से समझ पाओगे, बिकॉज आई विल इंटीग्रेट एवरीथिंग ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इन क्लास आई हैव नॉट डिस्कस द ट्रीटी ऑफ वेस्टफेलिया. I will discuss that Treaty of Westphalia, the concept of nation state, French Revolution, okay, and all this. That if we have to write all these events in 250 words, how can we write? I will discuss that format also. Got it? Okay. Thanks to all of you. Welcome.